So huge breaking news coming out of Westminster tonight. Number 10 seems to be in chaos. Health Secretary Wes Streeting is reportedly trying to oust the Prime Minister. But Streeting has vehemently denied the reports, which I guess he would, wouldn't he? Let's get the opinion of political editor at The Independent, David Maddox. David, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on The Late Show Live.
Hi Bev, how are you?
There you are, David. Good to see you. Right, so what's going on for Labour? Because, I mean, we know that Starmer's popularity is very, very poor. But is he really at the stage where people are trying to stab him in the back, David?
I think he may well be. I mean, it does tonight look like some sort of circular firing squad where everybody's trying to blame one another and finish everybody off. But I mean, this has been coming for months and months now, and it's just not improving for them at all. I mean, Wes Streeting is one of a few with any sort of serious charisma and public recognition who could actually step in. But, I just wonder if the party's actually too left-wing for Wes Streeting now. And, he wouldn't stand a chance up against, say, somebody like Ed Miliband or even Angela Rayner making a comeback.
I'm sort of smiling to myself out of vision there, David, at the idea that Wes Streeting is a man of charisma. But I do know what you mean. He may
it's
not
all
necessarily.
Isn't it?
It's a very, very low bar, David Maddox, is what we're saying, isn't it? It's a very low bar. But what Wes Streeting does have is he has an ability, I think, to communicate with the public where at least he appears to be being fairly straightforward. And he seems like a normal person, in inverted commas. He doesn't seem like a public schoolboy that's lived a rarefied existence. He looks like he brings a bit of kind of muscle to the role. He doesn't mind rolling his sleeves up, getting stuck in. I can see why he might be the one snapping at the heels of Starmer. But what would actually be the process, David, for the Labour Party if they were going to start trying to get Starmer out?
Well, I mean, there's two things I'd say as well. Wes Streeting is not actually the only name being bandied around. I mean, to my surprise, John Healey, the Defence Secretary, has been bandied around as some sort of continuity candidate. And Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, has also been bandied around.
God
so
help us!
It's not only Wes by any means. Although, I mean, Wes would certainly be the strongest candidate, I think. But it's actually quite a difficult process. It's much harder than the Tories. The Tories just send in their letters, and in fact that might be happening soon as well. But let's not get distracted. But they just send in their letters. They have a vote of confidence in their leader if there's enough letters, and then they move on to the next stage if there's no vote of no confidence in their leader. But it's in terms of Labour, somebody actually has to stand against Keir Starmer. There has to end up being some sort of special conference, and the party has to vote on the candidates. It's not a particularly straightforward task.
OK, thank you so much, David. David Maddox there, political editor at The Independent. I've got my panel here with me this evening. Two of our audience's most popular gentlemen, if you don't mind me saying so. Stephen Kent, a political commentator, and Democrat strategist Mally Smith. We were just listening, if you're listening there, about Labour and how it can be quite complicated in the Labour Party, bizarrely, compared to the Conservatives. They have their own rules about it, to get rid of somebody. But what would the logic be? Mally, let me come to you. What would the logic be for the Labour Party to get rid of Starmer now when we're, 2025 and probably an election? I mean, Farrow just said 2 years, but 2.5 to 3 years.
Well, I mean, they have two, courses they could take. They could wait it out and see if things improve on the economy, or they could try new leadership and try potentially new policy ideas and see if that gets them in a better place. I think the issue they're having, which is an issue we're having in America, is that there are issues with the economy. Both the US and the UK have slowing job growth. Your previous program talked about how there's a couple thousand jobs being lost in the UK a week. It just came out in the US. We have 11,000 jobs being lost a week this October. And we have rising inflation. And you can't convince voters their economic situation is better until it actually starts getting better.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing, whether it's Keir Starmer or the challenger who
Wes
wins,
Streeting.
Wes Streeting.
Not a household name in America,
I was about to
presumably.
say, I forgot.
He's not really a household name in the UK either, to be fair.
Whether it's him or Keir Starmer, they've got to come up with an economic plan that starts improving UK folks' lives and that they can communicate.
The thing is, Stephen, this Labour Party are so extremely socialist. Like they weren't elected on that ticket. Nobody knew quite how socialist they were going to be. They said, we're not going to raise taxes. Now it's like they're going to raise taxes in the budget, where, you know, they've put tax on private schools in the UK. There's all sorts of punitive taxes. They're putting tax on farmers, on small businesses, blah, blah, blah. If they bring in the guy then that David just said, Wes Streeting, is a bit too right-wing for them, is it a good time in an electoral cycle to literally, you know, put a hard right on your political ideology?
It's been pretty clear to me for at least 10 years that the people of Great Britain are crying out for something a little bit more right-wing that the establishment system is not producing for them. You know, Keir Starmer, initially when this guy took office, I thought he was going to be a person who tries to moderate. But again, like kind of Joe Biden, who had been around in politics for so long, I thought he was going to govern as a moderate. He just sort of caves to his far left wing. That was surprising to me as someone who follows politics closely. So not surprised this is happening to Keir Starmer, but I can't wait to see him go.
Well, look, I mean, what's so extraordinary about these rumours, Bev, is how out of the blue they seem to have come. It's 2 weeks to go until the big UK budget, the second budget for Rachel Reeves. And so it's the timing more than anything, which was so surprising for everyone in the Westminster press pack here. There seems to be a number 10 briefing that's come out tonight, out of the blue, and we are now expecting to see Wes Streeting out of the media round in the morning. He will be answering all these different questions about this. We all know Wes Streeting is a very ambitious minister. He's someone who has made secret of the fact that he one day perhaps could run for the top job. But it was the fact that Keir Starmer is now briefed to be someone who is going to be fighting for his job, regardless of what happens with the budget, regardless of what happens with those local elections next year. So I think that's really taken everyone by surprise in Westminster. And speaking to MPs tonight, Bev, is really that sense of shock and surprise. Again, at the timing of this wasn't a big event. This was just a briefing that happened to end up at different places, like The Guardian, like The Times. And so I think that everyone will be really surprised to see what's gone on and see what Wes Streeting has to say in 5-6 hours' time.
I'm interested in the timing of this, James. Like you say, maybe it's a surprise, but if you were Wes Streeting, you want, when the budget happens in a couple of weeks and everyone's going to feel poorer, angry. I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure there's anybody that's going to be happy after that budget, regardless of where you sit on the socioeconomic scale, let's say. Does he want people to have him in mind? It's a very clever way of putting yourself front and centre of an alternative when the British public are going to be looking at their bank accounts and going, well, I don't trust this guy. Who is there? Oh, Wes Streeting. Maybe that's his logic.
Well, look, I think that there's been a suspicion on the part of some people in Number 10 about who might be a challenge to them. I think that there is that sense of paranoia that's been creeping into certain people who are close to Keir Starmer, and so they've tried to fire this preemptive shot tonight. And it was quite striking seeing this briefing coming out earlier, being like, you know, Keir Starmer will challenge anyone who comes for him. Well, yes, you'd expect the Prime Minister to do so, not least, of course, because he won a big general election majority just 17 months ago. So I don't think it's necessarily anything on the part of Wes Streeting. And of course, it's worth noting that on the record tonight, Wes Streeting's key aides are all saying, look, nothing to do with me, Gov. I do think, though, that it's very obvious that people are thinking about who might succeed Keir Starmer, given he seems so unable to meet the moment, as it were. And so I think that even these conversations are not happening with Wes Streeting's knowledge, they're certainly going on.
James, how popular is Wes Streeting amongst his colleagues in the Labour Party?
Yeah, pretty popular. I'd say that on the right, he's certainly seen as the coming man, the crown prince. But of course, those within the party might necessarily, if you're quite factional, want someone on the soft left. Hence why Angela Rayner was, until recently, the favourite.